apologies for all of the coughing and the sniffling and that on the back ass end of a cold. So I'll try to keep the sniffling to a minimum because I know if you're watching someone and they're constantly sniffling, it's a bit annoying. But I'm gonna share my thoughts that I had on my morning walk this morning. I go for a walk every morning once I wake up. Feel like it just really gets it really like, you know, you're moving your body, really wakes you up and you can think things through and prepare for the day. So this January has been a bit of a mad month for me. In the sense of, like, obviously you have this big peak of sales in November and December, and then there's such a big drop off in January. Now, that's obviously like expected, but I grew the brand a lot from last December to this December. Over 2023, I grew the brand a lot. And I spent a lot on advertisement, which is the main way that I get most of my sales currently. And this was my error, which I can completely admit. Obviously, because it's Christmas, you're a little bit more relaxed. Do you know what I mean? You're not necessarily keeping an eye on things as much. And I'd never spent that much on ads before, so I didn't expect there to be such a drop off. And I ended up basically just burning through money that I really, really needed. Just ended up burning through, you know, probably could have saved myself a good few, like 5 or 6 grand if I pulled spend back in towards the end of December. Because of how big the drop off was, but I didn't keep an eye on it. I did pull spend back after the first week of January, so I have recovered some. So I haven't done as much damage as I potentially could have. But that, but yeah, so that hit me pretty hard when there was such a significant drop off from performance being so good to then being at such a low point. And it made me start looking at all the different areas of the brands that could improve. And it led me to really kind of thinking about everything that I'd learned over 2023, consolidating those learnings, and really figuring like a lot of shit out, in a sense of, in 2023 there was a lot of trial and error. And when you're doing your own thing, if you're starting a brand or doing your own project, there's areas where you kind of have to, like, you don't have much experience in, or you're getting better in, or you're learning, you have to do trial and error to try and find a method that works best for you. Like, you have to do trial and error, because you got to find out like what direction you want to go in, what works best for you, what is also will bring the results. But the issue when you're doing a lot of trial and error and you're trying a lot of different things, especially when you have a business, is that you can't optimize you can't really optimize, and things will always just it will affect performance, because there isn't that consistency. Like if you're testing out, say for example, a drop model, like how you wanna release products. Say you want to release smaller drops every 2 weeks, or big drop once a month, and you're testing those things out. That's confusing for the customer, and it leads to a lack of consistency. But it also means, like, around that, you'll have to change how you post on Instagram. You'll have to change like how you do your marketing strategy and how you advertise, and like it creates it creates differences that affect like efficiency with your own time, and it impacts performance of the business. But this February has been a lot of just figuring a lot of stuff out and really consolidating all of my learnings from 2023, and basically just setting exact processes and structures to follow going into 2024 that will not change. So I can trim the fat away from all of these processes. And when I say trim the fat, I mean spend as little time as possible, like of my own time as possible, on these other things. Because when you're trying to test things and figure things out, you're doing research and you're looking into these areas and you're testing and you're looking at the results, and it all consumes time. And when you're doing so many things, like for example, if you're running a brand on your own, I design a website, all the product, get all of the images ready, take all the pictures, run all of the adverts, do all the customer service, process all of the returns, come up with all of the advertising strategies, make all of the posts, everything. I do everything for the brand, and all of this takes time. And to be able to progress the brand, and this is for anyone doing anything that has a lot of different kind of balls that you have to juggle, you have to find processes for each thing that get your work to a certain level of quality that you can then just execute without thinking about it, so you spend the most minimal amount of time doing that specific thing, so you can move on to the thing that actually needs your attention. So like for me, 2024, that is going to be becoming the best marketer that I can, and becoming amazing at ads, and focusing on really dramatically improving the designs of the brand, which I haven't done for a long time. I feel like the brand's been a bit stagnant design-wise for a while because I've been focusing on so many areas. But yeah, so back to the point. You have to trim the fat around all of these processes, and you have to create almost like I have a document for everything, for every process, my work schedule, the work that I need to do monthly, weekly, and daily. I have schedules for my ads, like the processes for my ad strategy, for how I do my releases, everything. So I don't have to think about it anymore. And the only reason I'm at this point where I'm lucky enough to have these processes is because I did 3 years of trial and error, testing so many different things out. And it means I've now got what I feel like. I'm so excited to move into 2024, because I feel like I finally got a real foundation that I'm not going to change. I feel like I've got real clarity in terms of like the direction that I want to go in every area, how I want to do my modeling photos, my product photos, because those two there are insanely important. These are the two things that will essentially impact whether someone buys your product or not. If you have a shit product photo and shit modeling photos, no one's going to buy your product because it looks shit, it looks bad, it looks low quality. Those are the deciders, so they have to be really important. So there was a lot of trial and error there. How I do my releases, how often I release product, how I then showcase those products on Instagram in terms of how often do I post? Do I post all of the products in just one carousel, or do I post them individually? Like, these are things you have to test and figure out. Then down to the marketing strategy. Like, I've been, like, over 2023, I was with a couple of different marketing agencies, and I tried a few different strategies with running the ads. And when you're with agencies, they do different things within the ad account, and it kind of stifles the performance of the account a little bit because, the budget might be split in different ways. And it affects performance. But now that I've got like a really solid base, so now that I have a really solid base in terms of I'm not going to be questioning these things anymore in terms of how I do I'm not going to be testing out how I do my product releases, or how I showcase my product on Instagram, or how I want my marketing strategy to be, or how I want my website to be. I'm not going to be questioning those things anymore because it's done. Like, I've been through those processes, and now I don't have to think about it or research into it anymore, or spend my time doing that anymore. Obviously I have to spend my time like I have to spend my time executing the process when it needs executing. So like, when you get samples in, then you have to iron the clothing and take the product pictures, and then you have to do, and then once you've done all of that, get all the content shot, then you have to edit it, then you have to schedule everything on Instagram, do the newsletters, get all the images ready on the website. You have to obviously do all of that. So but I don't have to spend time thinking what's the best way to edit the pictures, so it saves a lot of time. So I feel like I'm going into 2024 feeling like I have really, really, really solid foundations. Like, I'm so fucking excited because this is the first time where I feel like I've really got a grip on how I want to do things. and I'm not constantly questioning myself. Because that's honestly, that's one of the hardest things about doing all of this. That's one of the hardest things about doing a project on your own. Is you have no one really to tell you if you're doing something wrong. And you're constantly questioning yourself because no one's going to tell you if this is right or this is wrong. And you don't really know if you're heading into a mistake until you've made it, because then you feel the repercussions of it. Like December, for example. Like how I fucked up with the marketing. Well, not fucked up, but how I overspent. Yeah, that's the hardest bit. Is you're always questioning yourself. Is this the right way to do it? Is this the best way? Is there a better way that I could be doing it? Is there a more efficient way that I'd be doing it? Does this actually look good? And then you compare yourself as well. You compare yourself to all the other brands, and you look at how everyone else is doing it, and all the other people on Instagram, and you're like, your mind just goes around in circles, questioning things. But I feel like ultimately that's a good thing, because it's like this is what I do anyway. If I make a decision and I do something, say for example, I'm testing out a new posting structure in terms of how I showcase the products on Instagram. Your brain will just kind of attack the way you're doing it from loads of different angles, and it's mentally time consuming. It's resource consuming mentally. Yeah, one, because your brain is thinking about it, and because you're not like when you're doing your own project like this, it's not like a job where you clock in, you clock out, you don't think about it until you clock back in again. This is like being an entrepreneur or doing your own project, doing your own brand. It's you're constantly thinking about it, so it's like you're on it 24/7. So when you're always questioning yourself, there's just this feeling of not uneasiness, but like it's almost like just a lack of confidence in what you're doing, because you're questioning if it's right. You're questioning if this is the right play to make. Is this the right move that I should be doing? And I've almost completely eliminated that from so many aspects. Now, I'll do more videos going into more detail about different things if you guys want me to, because it's a huge, like specifically running a clothing brand. It's just so many fucking areas where I've made so many mistakes and I've learned, and I'll document these things. This is obviously the first video, so I'm rambling a bit, but yeah, there's so many areas, so many things to think about, and I feel like I don't have to think about it anymore. I can just act. I can just execute, because I know this is the best way for me. This is the best way for me based on performance, based on what I want, based on how I want my brand how I want to run my brand, and how I want to do my content, and how I want to showcase my work to the world, So that's what this January's been about, setting the foundations for moving into the next year and years. And now having consistency in how the brand does things, so that I can now begin optimization instead of figuring out what the best way to do it is. Which is massive, because now it means that performance can just improve and improve and improve. But what it also means, and the thing that I'm ultimately way more excited about, is it frees up my time so I can design. I want to get back to designing. I love the creativity and the designing side. Having a brand, there's two sides to it, yeah? There's the business side and there's the design side. And both sides have to be at equal levels, or both sides need attention. And you can't really focus. If you're focusing more on one, you're going to be focusing less on the other, because you have less time to give it, which is natural, of course. But then you have to spend time focusing, bringing it back to the other one, so it doesn't fall behind too much. Because you can't have a clothing brand that relies entirely on its designs, because that will only last for so long, because the business side is what supports the creative side. Then you bring the business side up and you improve the business side, but then you can have an amazing business side, like your ads and your Instagram, and you have an accountants and your cash flows are on lock and your funds are good. But if your designs are shit, then no one's going to buy from you. So it's a real balancing act, because both of them are massive. Both of them are skills in themselves, and you have to figure out and improve both. And it felt like for me, 2023 was, there was a bit. It feels like that there was a lot more business than there was design, in a sense of like what I was focusing on trying to improve. It feels like there was a lot of time spent on business, figuring out how to improve. Because if you look back at the brand and you look at some of the older products, even just back on the Instagram, you'll see my modelling and my product photography has gotten a lot better. And it's me that's taking all the pictures, but it has gotten a lot better. It doesn't look so amateur anymore, it looks a lot more professional, and I'm really figuring out the best way to do that, with help from people, from a friend of mine, who's a professional photographer. He helped direct me and give me some and help me improve my product photography. But that matters so much. And then I spent so much time trying to develop my marketing strategy, and so much time in the back end managing cash flows, because I started the brand with no money. I started the brand with £600, and I've essentially grown the brand on just funding rounds. What I mean by funding rounds is just revenue-based funding. So you take out, say, a month's worth of revenue, and you pay it back over like 4.5 months. So it's intense on the cash flow, but you get a big chunk that you can then push spend. So because I started the brand with no money and I'm trying to grow a business with no money, I've had to be very, very sharp on my cash flow, because I haven't got anyone who can just give me loads of money, who can say here's just 20 grand. And I've never had savings, because I've been doing the brand I've been doing the brand since I left school, and only have ever had part-time jobs. And yeah, so I've had to grow this brand without my own money. I've had to grow this brand with no money, and then I made a few mistakes along the way with different marketing agencies and spending money on things I shouldn't have. So I've never had a chance to build up like a reserve of cash, really, that can cushion me. And I started growing it probably a bit earlier than I should have, and I've grown it very quickly using these funding rounds. Which means I've grown the brand on nothing but debt. So it's the cash flow was really, really important to manage the flow of cash in and out. So I've gained a much greater understanding of that side of things as well. But I spent a lot of time doing that, and even down to the website, just a lot of time on business. There's just sorry to ramble on, but I spent a lot of time refining the business side of things and getting the business fucking solid. And I feel like it is now. I feel like it's bulletproof. Not bulletproof, but I feel like it's very, very solid now. And now that that's all sorted, I want to focusing on designing and really improving the brand design-wise, because I feel like it's been stagnant for a while. I feel like the brand's designs have been pretty stagnant for a little bit, especially in comparison to other brands that are on Instagram. Like you see some of these other brands and they're releasing the sickest cut and sew pieces. And because I started moving to Mars with no money, I've been stuck on basically just print on demand, as in each garment gets made as the orders come in, and they're being printed on blanks that get ordered in, and then they get relabeled, so they get the arm tag and the patch and all of that put on, and all of the stuff is excellent quality. But the biggest downside of print on demand, biggest upside is you can start a brand with no money, and you don't have to hold stock, yeah? But the biggest downside, especially when you're kind of running at better scales like I am, like 5 digits a month, not big scales, but, just high amounts where the volumes are a little bit more, you don't get any economies of scale, so you don't get any unit cost savings, which means, what that means is, if you buy 1,000 t-shirts, you get a discount compared to buying 10 t-shirts, yeah? I'm getting charged for making one of each item at a slightly discounted rate, yeah, but I'm getting charged of making one of each item, which means if I do 1,000 orders in a month, I get no bulk discount on any of that. So my profit margins are really, my unit costs are not very good. My unit costs are relatively high, especially considering all my garments are organic cotton. They're basically the best quality blanks you can get. Some of the best quality blanks you can get, not the best, but some of the best quality blanks you can get, organic cotton. So it's all it's all more expensive on the side of things, especially for the price. Like the price that I'm offering my garments at for the quality of the garments is really low. Like I see people offering the same shit for like £100, £120, but I don't want to be charging the highest prices. I don't want to be charging super high prices, really. That's the benefit of doing it on your own, doing it as a one-man band, is that I can, I don't have warehouse costs, I don't have staffing costs, so I can afford to offer a really, really good product for a lower price. But I need to, oh yeah, I remember. So I'm limited to print on demand, which means that I have limited print locations and I have limited print techniques, and I can't like fully customize the garments with like washes and really unique cuts and really unique features like all these other really sick brands can. And that's simply just the hand I was dealt with how I started the brand. I started it with no money, and I haven't had the opportunity to build reserve capital to then be able to buy stock. To buy, because you have to, if you're going to do cut and sew and really custom items, you have to buy like an amount, you have to buy units. But now we're at that stage where I can start looking into that. Financially, I can now do it, but also with all of the work that happened in 2023, trial and error, building all of these processes out, putting all of this effort into figuring out the best way to do things, and now that all the effort now in January to really set those foundations so I don't have to think about it has now freed up my time as well. So I can now put time into developing the design side of things and learning cut and sew and designing more beautiful graphics, because I love creating graphics, man. I fucking love it. I feel like I fell out of love for it. Fell out of love with it for a little bit. But my passion and excitement for designing has really come back now that it's really close on the horizon. Thing is, when you're doing so many different things, yeah, and there's so many different areas that need your time, it's like you have to give time to certain things one at a time. And you immerse yourself and get to the problem, you resolve the bottleneck in that area, and then you go to another thing, and you go to another thing, and it's just you keep doing that, and you only have so many hours in a day. You only have so many hours in a day that you can give time to these things. So if you're focusing on all of these areas aren't going to get as much attention. And for me, as I previously explained, that was designing, and now I'm just so excited that I can finally bring my eye back to design. Because I've neglected it. Honestly, I've neglected it, and I haven't given it the attention that it needed. And now I can come back and bring the design side up to match the business side. I feel like my business side is up here in terms of my website, my product photography, my ads is here, but I feel like my designs are here. So now it's time to bring these up. And it's like you bring one up and it elevates the other. And then you bring the other up and it elevates the other. And it's just, it works in tandem. So I'm super, super excited to start getting back into designs. And really, really progressing the design side of the brand. I'm so fucking excited for the next year to come, and to improve designs. And I'm going to release my first cut and sew pieces this year. I want to release my first cut and sew pieces now that all the processes are sorted, and I don't have to think about that shit so much anymore. I can start making the best product possible for you. I can make the best fucking product possible. Oh my god, I'm so excited for it. Looking forward to it so much. And I won't be charging ridiculous prices. I'll be offering really nice products for really affordable prices. Yeah, to be honest, that was one of the reasons I started this brand. Because I remember when I first started getting into fashion, and people would compliment me on the clothes I was wearing. It makes you feel good. Do you know what I mean? It makes you feel good. And I almost, I thought to myself, like, wouldn't it be cool if I could get these kinds of compliments on stuff I made, and for other people as well. So that's just a cool thing. So whenever anyone messages me saying I get loads of compliments on my hoodie and on this, on that, it puts a bigger smile on my face. It makes me feel fucking sick. Because that's one of the reasons I started the brand. But also, I fucking love designing. I've taught myself how to do everything, yeah? Including designing, and I just fucking love it. It's so much I enjoy it. When I design, I feel like I feel like I feel like time stops in a way. Like I'll be designing and just 4 hours has gone by, and it's like, fuck. And I love seeing a design come together when you put things when you see it kind of start to come to life. And there's also that feeling of frustration when you want to do something but you don't have the skills and abilities to, so you have to go and learn it. I love the process. I love all of it, and I'm really excited to. I'm really excited to start documenting this journey as well. To be honest, like I was always thinking I'm a little bit nervous. I was a little bit worried about it, a little bit nervous about it, but this comes really naturally to me. This comes really. I feel like this is something that I should share. I feel like I want to share this journey. I just want to share the progression, and I'm really, really, really fucking excited because it's the start, man. It's the start. It's the beginning. I'll do a video going over the start of Moving to Mars as well, like how the brand started and the journey up to this point now. I'm not sure when I'll do it, but for now I'm just going to document my thoughts as I go along. The videos will probably rather rambly and not much structure like this, but that's just kind of how I am. Do you know what I'm saying? I could talk for England. But yeah, I'm just really, really excited, and I hope this video offers any kind of help to anyone. If there's anything you guys want to know specifically, just ask me and I'll answer it to the best of my abilities. I hope anyone could get some kind of value from this, or if not, it's just an entertaining video to put on in the background. I don't know why you'd want to watch a guy talk to a camera in his bedroom, but but yeah, I'm just well excited. Happy 2024 to everyone as well. Happy New Year. Hopefully I don't get drafted, because that would suck. Conscripted, I mean, that would suck. But but yeah, very excited to share this with you all. Very excited to progress the designs and just share more of the brand.